When I think of Bogalusa, I think of home and, you know, the grind that most people go through down here on a daily basis. That's instilled in them.
I think of all the love. Bogalusa is a great place. I grew up here. I'm a hometown boy that was able to come back home and give back to my community.
I wasn't born here, but you know, we bounced around a lot when I was younger, but here's the only place that I know is home.
Small town, close friends, wonderful place to live and raise children. I raised 3 here, and I'm not sorry that it was here at all.
I think of Bogalusa as being a close family of friends. The schools, the people that we know. I raised my children here. They all went through the school system in Bogalusa and graduated, and 3 of them live here now.
When I think of Bogalusa, I think of love. Everybody that I love is here. My parents are still here. I'm raising my family here by choice. I obviously could be anywhere, but I want to be here. I love the community feel of it, and you know, when you go to a store, you're going to know almost everybody in the store, and that just is a really warm, good feeling, and that's why I love Bogalusa.
When I think of Bogalusa, man, I think about being able to do more with less. Because being from Bogalusa, I know that we've had a lot of potential. We have a lot of people that excelled in academically as well as athletes. And coming from a small town with limited resources, that says a lot about a small city. So I think about positivity, progression, prosperity.
Personally, when I think about Bogalusa, I think about perseverance, because I think that's something that every person here has to have in order to make it here if you're gonna make it. You know, you're gonna deal with a lot of obstacles, but it's not all negative. You know, as long as you remain consistent, perseverance is gonna get you to whatever point you wanna get to, where you wanna go here. Doesn't matter what's going on. When you go home, it might feel like a failure that day, but just understand that it's not about that day anymore. The day is over. Look for tomorrow, for the successes of tomorrow, and you'll be okay.
First thing that came to mind was football, the lumberjacks, the paper mill.
The mill. Because when I first moved here, the smell was unbearable when I first moved here. And but after a while, you get used to it. I guess you don't even smell it anymore. But at that time, I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
A stinky smell. But you know what? That's the smell of money. But a lot of people have different ideas about Bogalusa. Some have the smell of the paper mill. Some say it's a drug capital of the world. But in my opinion, I think the paper mill is the centerpiece of Bogalusa.
If we didn't have that smell, we wouldn't have a town. So that's why we have to have it. And it doesn't bother me. My family used to come from Hattiesburg, and they'd say they'd nearly die. They could taste it in the water. No. Yes, they could.
I guess everybody has their own little saying about how they feel Bogalusa smells. A lot of the old timers that have spent their entire career at the mill will tell you that Bogalusa smells like money. I have a friend in the company who tells his daughters that paper mills smell like college. Typically, a paper mill is going to be further out, away from the town. The reason we're different is because the mill was here first. The sawmill was here, and then the paper mill. 1918, we started making paper here, and the town literally popped up around it. The town is called the Magic City because overnight, a town just kind of appeared with the people that were working in the sawmill and the paper mill. And now, over 100 years later, we are still making paper here. It's been continuously running since 1918. We call it a paper mill, but we actually make container board, which is the brown paper that's made into boxes. 1 out of every 2 boxes in this country are made by International Paper, and a lot of what we make are the boxes that come from Amazon. If you are shopping online and you flip that box over, you can see where the box was made.
It evolved from Crown Zellerbach to Gaylord, from Gaylord to Temple Inland, and from Temple Inland to International Paper. So with all those different companies, quite naturally there's going to be different rules, different regulations, different supervisors, different managers, and things changed over the years. But after I finished my tenure as a guard, after 6 years, I got hired on the paper machines. I worked on the paper machines, I guess, about maybe 2 years. Then I got into the maintenance department and finished my career there.
We are the largest private employer in Washington Parish, Louisiana. We have an annual payroll of about $48 million, and we contribute about $10 million a year in state and local taxes. In addition to the almost 500 jobs that we have here at the mill, you also have suppliers and contractors and vendors and local businesses. You can actually say for every 1 International Paper mill job, there are 3.25 jobs created in the community.
I was fortunate to work with a lot of good guys at the paper mill. Met a lot of new friends, a lot of friends at the paper mill over the years. And it was a pleasure to work out there. It was a privilege to work at the paper mill because it was a hard job to get, even though it was the largest employer in the parish and in the city. It was kind of hard to get on. And once I got on, I stayed on 38 years, and I enjoyed my time out there.
When I think of Bogalusa, I think about the community. I think about fellowship and friends. Downtown, I feel like we're a small town with a great atmosphere of togetherness. I think we have a bond despite people believing that we are separated, because in Bogalusa we are resilient in the sense that when the going gets tough, we get together and we do it together. But we can be divided in other things, but when things are going wrong, I know Bogalusa comes together.
To me, the greatest place in the world. Love the place. My mother and father and all of my brothers, we grew up there in Bogalusa. My mother had 10 children, 9 boys in a row, and then her baby was a girl. And we all lived in Bogalusa, and all the guys did well, went to school, went off to college, and I was the last. I was number 9. My daddy was a hard-working man, worked at the paper mill for about 40 years, and that house that I was reared up in is still standing in Bogalusa today.
Growing up in Bogalusa was happy. We rode our bicycles everywhere. You could play outside. You know, it was the scenario of your parents standing on the steps screaming for you to come in. You know, you would have to go in when the street light came on. You better be there in the yard. You grew up with the same people. You stayed in the schools together all the way through until you graduated. So it was a very a feeling of safety and of love.
It was like family. We have everybody knew everyone. During the times that I grew up, basically all the families were connected. My entire family of cousins and friends were all right here in Bogalusa, and so it was just a great place to be for family.
You know, I grew up in a different time. For me, it was more family and friends, you know, going everywhere together, walking places. It's a different time now, but I never like want to change the way I grew up here. The people I met, the people you was around was really all you had, man. Like at times, you know, we was out to, you know, street lights and all that. You know, even going to parties and everything, bro. It's so many memories, bro. So many fun times.
the early 2000s, we were starting to see a lot of athletes starting to kind of come back to life. The pride of the school was starting to kind of come back to life. The size of the school was still pretty immense. So for me, it was a lot about pride during that time. The support from the community was still really, really strong. Businesses pretty much closed down on Friday night, man. Everybody was coming to the game. It was pretty much a shutdown to the city, and we traveled really, really well at that time. You know, we rarely had an empty visitor side whenever we had away games. Everybody wore shirts, everybody wore paint, you know, it was a really, really big deal.
High school football was the best time of my life. The camaraderie, Coach Udell, the way he had us shacked up and crazy, Coach Penton and Coach Simmons and Coach Walker and all the guys, man, like, it was awesome, man. My friends, and, you know, that's something you'll never get back when it's over. You can have all the reunions you want, but nothing can replace, man, going to football camp and going at it, like going at it.
I don't think a lot of people really understand the amount of power success carries for the next generation. Seeing that number, that name, and seeing that he's from Bogalusa made you believe that you were capable of doing the same thing. It gave you a reason, it gave you a motivation, it gave you purpose.
When I graduated from high school, Bogalusa was either the 6th or the 7th largest city in Louisiana. And because of the change of that paper mill and other things, now we just at a population somewhere now, I guess, about 10,000. And at that time, when I finished high school, we were knocking on the door at that time of 30,000 people.
My family would go to Franklinton or Bogalusa to shop. Franklinton being another small town in Louisiana and in our parish, and Bogalusa was the bigger city. And so there was always more opportunities of what you could purchase and what was available in the bigger city. So it was always a treat to get to go, and the hustle and bustle back in those days was unbelievable. The Columbia Street, the main street at that time, was always very busy with people, and there was the best of shopping here, honestly. There was people that traveled from other areas to come here to shop because there were so many things offered.
Back during the times of the 60s and 70s, many blacks did not own businesses. And one of the first ones that I knew that owned a business was Mr. Hopkins. And back during those times, you can hear there's an advent now about supporting black businesses. Well, I can remember my family would only buy gas from Mr. Hopkins. He had an Amoco service station right there on what is known as Martin Luther King Drive now. That's what we all frequented, was that service station. And it was a big thing for a young black guy growing up to see another black man run a business. And I know that impacted a lot of us to know that we can have ownership in the community.
Growing up in the studio, I was always like the only black girl, or maybe like one or two of us, but it never was like a full lineup of black girls. I never got treated any differently because I was the only black, but that's why it's just hard to see where the times have changed, and I would hate to be in that predicament right now. School-wise, dancing wasn't bad at all because it was a pretty good mix, but I still had an advantage because I was a studio dancer versus just a school dancer.
Growing up in Bogalusa was a little different for myself because I'm biracial. I'm both African American and Caucasian. My mother had a relationship with a black man in the 70s, right after segregation. Nobody in Bogalusa was like me. Now there's a bunch of people like me. It's like two weenie dogs seeing each other for the first time. The first time I saw someone like me was in college. I got both worlds, and that's who makes me. So I've embraced that, and I don't think that everybody else embraced it at that time, but I think now, today, in Bogalusa, there's more people like me in this country, and I think that it's a good thing.
Gaylord built 2 YMCAs, which is unbelievable, back in the 30s. But as they burnt down, they rebuilt them in the 50s. both of them. It was so that when the men got out from the mill, because we're a mill town, that they'd have a place to shower and recreate. It was a library in both of the Ys at that time, and it was just a place for the working families to have a place to go and provide a lot of needs. This was prior to integration. As we grew up, back in the 60s and the 70s, it got the NOMA of being the black Y, the white Y. But when I grew up, there was no discrimination from going from one Y to the other. Come to town and say, you looking for the black Y on Avenue U or the white Y on Avenue B. But to my knowledge, when I was growing up, we could go to Avenue B and anyone could come to Avenue U. But it was just the stigma that was placed upon it. In about 1994, I became CEO over both sites. We had one tax ID number. So we were basically billed as one Y, two locations. But the community, when someone comes in from the national, they always felt that, oh, you're looking for the black Y, the white Y. And you know, unfortunately, we almost lost our charter with people saying that. The Black YMCA was a recreation and social icon in our community, in the black community. Many times churches use the YMCA on Avenue U. We taught swimming lessons. We had basketball. We had all type of dances for our youth. During the week, we had fashion shows. We had, it was the social thing for the community. Some of it was funded by city recreation funds because you have to realize during those times, we had what was called the community chest. And the community chest supported all the nonprofit organizations. All of those monies now go to Covington in the United Way Fund, and the Y has to apply for grants in order to get the money now. I think the Y definitely was taken for granted, and we were so dependent upon the community chest funds that most of our members, people who use the facility, did not pay a membership as they did at other YMCAs. And of course, when that funding was taken away, it was difficult to get people in the Washington Parish community to directly pay a membership, which is how all other Ys operate.
Doing integration back in '69, I was in the 4th grade. And it was kind of on a really decline as far as race relations because everybody was trying to get used to the integration because there was segregation the whole time up until then. We didn't know anything about color being that young. But in the high school, they had riots and I mean, they just had terrible things going on during the integrations in the upper grades. But we wasn't exposed to a lot of it other than name calling, you know, in the lower grades.
As you go back and look at the history, we were the bed of the civil rights movement in the country. And that I don't think we should ever forget that. And I want people to never forget the things that put Bogalusa on the map. We had one of the first systems from 1st grade all the way to 12th grade of integration in the South.
When it first started, it was a little ugly. When you had policemen, National Guard, state troopers on your campus, and people shooting tear gas and all this, it got to be real bad at one time. And especially, and here's a little school just north of us, Vanado, and places like that, and Franklinton, 21 miles from us. They weren't having that problem. But I could tell you now, I knew it was going to happen because Bogalusa kids weren't going to just watch it, the change take place, and it wasn't correct because really, they could have left us at Central. Central Memorial High School didn't take a second seat under nobody. If we went into something, we came out number 1. Every child that walked through the doors there was on a college preparatory.
When they merged Central High School and Bogalusa High School, they merged from K through 12. The first year, in 1968, they had what was called freedom of choice. Then in '69, it was a complete merger. One of the things that was important about that was Central Memorial High School had a great heritage from academics, athletics, choir, band. We had a great heritage. We lost a portion of that heritage by losing Central's name. When we merged into Bogalusa High School, that we had to adapt to a lot of things that was not taught at Central.
If a school is named Memorial, you are not to change it. They changed it and made Central the East Campus. Bogalusa High School was the West Campus.
That first year they integrated, Bogalusa High School won the state championship in football. And we had some great coaches, some great people that was involved in the program that helped teach young people to get along and work toward a common goal. And I think that was significant. Athletics is what kept this town together, because there was race riots at school and other things that went on. But I can tell you, me being an athlete and being one of those people that was here, no athlete ever fought each other during that whole time. And it was, and the community on Friday night came together. If you ever saw the movie Remember the Titans, that's what Bogalusa High was during that time. And I think that helped bridge the gap between the communities for the city. I'm a product of Bogalusa High School and Central Memorial High School. To be able to come back and coach where I played was truly an honor. It was, I was able to rebuild the program and to quite a bit of success.
There have never been a school like Central Memorial High School, and there never be another one. When I was a boy playing at Central and playing basketball, I could turn and I could see all of my teachers. It's Central Elementary today, and we got a young lady that's taking over, gonna do a great job at that school. The hardest decision I ever made in my life was when I had to retire. I didn't have to retire, but I did. I needed to spend some more time with Helen and my girls. I said, I've done all this for other folks' children. It's time for me now is to put a little more into mine. Didn't want to retire, but I did. Yeah.
When we lived in Kenner, everything was integrated. First best friend was black. First sleepover was a black kid. Like me and Kevin were just ball players. We played on the same team. But when we moved here, it was a little bit different in the sense of it was baseball. Football was integrated. That was kind of my childhood growing up, just playing sports and going to school. Like, we didn't understand all the caveats of, you know, they have a black baseball league. We just always, like, why can't we play them? They got a push, said they were state champions, 6 years ago. I want to play them. And coaches like, well, they're not in our league.
The guy who founded the Little League, he couldn't play when he was young, so he founded the Little League. That was way back in the 40s. He founded the Little League because he wanted all children, no matter who they were, be able to play Little League baseball. But he was a white guy. He didn't play. He couldn't play because he wasn't good enough. So he chose every kid. So he decided when he got older, he formed what they call the Little League program. And now it's worldwide. It's not just not national. It's not state. Worldwide. So we got it. And the white folks want it bad. They built a park across town over there and put a sign up there say, Little League. You can't use that name. That name is ours. Nobody can use Little League in this town but us. They can't put a paper in the paper about Little League. Nothing. We the only one can use that name.
You had the league that's behind the Y, and they referred that to the Black Little League, and then for baseball. And we had ours, that Northwest, Northeast, and it still had, it was black and white, majority white. But we always wondered why we never saw them play, why we never played that team, and because it was two different leagues.
They had Bogalusa Little League in the 60s, but they stopped because integration came. So they formed what they call the association.
There's still two leagues, and I've never understood why they just couldn't join together, and I know they've taken steps lately to do that, because what was occurring is that you only had two teams, maybe three, and they just play each other.
Every year they want to come to the meeting and want to merge, but they want to merge, but they want us to dismantle Bogalusa Little League, dismantle all the programs in Bogalusa and start one program, which is fine. Okay, they can join if they want to come and join us. We're not going to stop our program because they can't go nowhere and play. They can't go to the Little League World Series and all that stuff. We got that. We go national. They can't do it. Now they want it back because their kids not getting exposed, you know. But they won't play us either because they know they can't beat us. Back in the 70s and 80s, we was dominating this program in the state of Louisiana. Saying we got 4 state championships and no other team in this area got any. You ain't got to be a good player. Just come out here and learn some stuff because you need activities to keep you involved in something, to keep you off the streets. And you need to learn some discipline. And that's what Little League and most sports is about, discipline. And if you got discipline in your life, you might be able to make some mistakes and overcome them.
The more kids we can get to participate in anything builds a stronger community.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Bogalusa got a deep, rich history of racism. For the most part, it's a bunch of great people here, both sides of the track. Just in the black community, I was just taught that white people didn't care for blacks. And you've seen some of the things that will make you feel that way. At one point, we had a very corrupt police department. People dealt with social injustice all throughout the city, and I mean, it was just very prevalent for people to see blacks here, whites there.
I felt like it was always racist here, but in these times now, most people are struggling. It's a big separation between, you know, the wealthy and the poor. So everybody pretty much in the same boat. So everybody here now has the opportunities, whether you see it in your head or not. You have the same opportunities in Bogalusa as anybody else. Nobody's really in front of each other.
What would you say to the older community who may still see color?
Shame on you. Because you know what? There's a lot of people who love one another who are of different races. There are children like myself that may become your grandchild, or, you know, I understand that a lot of bad things happened back in those days. I'm thankful I wasn't alive during those times. I'm thankful for the fact that they paved the way for things to be better for us all, and for us all to be better human beings. Our forefathers made a lot of mistakes. Doesn't mean that we were the mistakes.
Is that all for you? Cash or card? Okay. It's gonna be $29.76.
All right, I got that's 3. I got that. Here. All right. Here you go, Gavin. 3 more.
We love hearing the church bells chime at different times of the day and night, the meal whistle go off. It lets you know what time of day it is. The logs rolling at night when I sit in my backyard. I can hear that at the paper mill, and different sounds that to me bring a comfort, and just knowing that I live in an area where I have so much to be thankful for, that we were so blessed.
I love the opportunity it gives. I think we have some of the best kids around, and a lot of people don't know that. They're more appreciative. That's the way I always kind of think of it is, and when people come here, that's one of the things that they're shocked by, is that, you know, these kids will do anything for you if they trust you. And it's awesome to work with them, coach them, teach them, take them to church, you know, all those things that you do, and you make a big impact here. More than, I'm not saying you can't do that anywhere else, but it's real rewarding here.
People are open, genuine, and you take them as they come. I think they're just beautiful people.
I love my city. I love the people. I love the food. I love my sheltered little neighborhood. And I just love being here in the city, in the environment.
The people, just growing up here, basically. You know, the things you go through in life that stick with you and help you be stronger through life. And that's the things I love the most, who will help me become.
We have some of the most colorful people that you'll ever meet. Generations of families and friends. It's something that you can't get anywhere else, I don't believe.
Coming from Chicago where I lived and moved from, it was nothing like the South. So neighbors didn't communicate. But down here I found out that neighbors cared about each other in the time that I moved down here. But nowadays, it's not the same anymore.
Here, everybody know each other, so there's no stranger. We can leave, come back, and still be the same. You know, it's everybody has this common ground. So you're not a stranger, you can ask people for help. They probably know your family. 9 times out of 10, they're gonna know your family, like your mom or your dad or even your grandparents, because I've had that happen a lot of times. So it's about family, for me, is what I love about being from Bogalusa. And it's gonna always be home. No matter where I go, I'm always represent the 985 Bogalusa, Bogue, as they call it, you know.
For many, many years, I've always thought that it was a diamond in the rough. And I've said that to a lot of people over the years. As we came here, we got to see, from 29 years ago, a whole shift and change in this area, especially on Columbia Street. It was a thriving area which you could find fine jewelry and fine clothes and get anything you needed right here down Columbia Street. And over the years, we've seen that kind of slowly deteriorate to almost an area of low income and low income living. And it's been disheartening, but the sad part is the true gem has been the people of the community. That's the one thing that has really never changed.
We have an extended family here. We're not from here and came here 29 years, bought this business from Tony's aunt and uncle, and we were just welcomed to the community immediately. I was born and raised in Slidell, a nearby city, and it reminded me of what Slidell was 20 years ago as a young girl. It was just close-knit. You go to the bank, you go to Walmart, everybody that eats with you is in there, you see it, you visit, and you just establish relationships. You don't find that in a lot of bigger cities, but it's family and friendship.
Bogalusa is a small town now. There's been a lot of people that's gone from here, but it is a good town. It really is, and you have some true friends here and family, and I've lived here since like 1973, I believe it is, and I've seen many changes that have come, and some for the good, some for the bad, but you always have to dwell on the good.
The slower pace of life is my way. I know that traffic's nice. It's nice to have things open all the time. But the truth is, Granny was right when she said nothing really good happens after 10 o'clock. So it's nice to be able to be home. And it takes me 10 minutes to get anywhere I want to go. And it's the rat race. Life is tough enough. To join that big rat race, I can go visit it.
Very often people say, open a Beano's in Texas, or open a Beano's in Covington, or open a Beano's in Metairie, all over. But we say, no, this is what we do. This is what we love. This is what we love.
This is our community.
I've lived elsewhere. I've lived in big cities and things, and it just feels like you're more cared for and loved here, but now you are also talked about. That's the thing that happens in small towns too. Everybody knows your business probably more than you know. But that comes with the territory of any small town. But we do have, at the heart of it, a lot of good people here. And I think that's the spirit that we, love about Bogalusa. I love it that I don't have traffic problems getting to and from. I love the location. I can be in New Orleans in an hour and a half, the Gulf Coast the same if I need to, yet I'm not living in that hustle bustle and constant traffic and lots of people. So I really like that part about living in a small city. I find if I forget my wallet and I walk in a store and they know me and I need something, if I need that, I get it. And they're like, we'll send you a bill, we'll whatever. And you don't get that in big cities, that personal, you know everybody and they know who you are and they know where to find you and they know that you're going to pay your bill and you're going to get your item that you need right at that moment and that kind of thing. I think is important for small towns.
Anybody, if you say I'm from Bogalusa and you say, oh, who you know from Bogalusa, if they give you 2 to 3 names, you're going to know who they're talking about.
When I first came to Bogalusa as an assistant coach, we were in 4A, but the next year, the next 2 years, it changed and we dropped down to 3A because a whole bunch of people just left the school system to go to somewhere else after Katrina. Bigger the school, the smaller the school, I knew my job was there to have an impact on the students. I came in, I wanted to win state championships. I just wanted to win. But when I saw the children that needed help, I mean not help in school, but help in life, I didn't realize how important that was for them to have a black role model to show them that a black guy can be a coach, a head coach. A black head coach can walk around the school and lead. So I thought I was a great father figure and role model to the children out here. Not only the boys, but the girls as well. I didn't want to accept you just being an athlete. I wanted you to be a great student and give you a chance, an opportunity to do other things. Maybe it wasn't to go to college and play at the next level. Maybe it was to go to college, go into service, or just go to a trade school, but to give you the confidence that you had, the students the confidence they had to do that and be disciplined in doing it.
Well, when I started the studio, I was 20 years old. I was a college student. Back history, I've been dancing all my life. I danced when I was in college, and then my dance teacher was killed in a car accident, and I just stopped dancing. So my mom was like, we ain't waste all that money on you all these years for you not to use, So I was like, well, the only way that I keep dancing is if I get in my studio. And 11 years later, 11 years, and I love it. I'm glad that I'm able to be here to be a role model and to, just be an outlet for the girls because, I needed an outlet, and that was my outlet of dancing. And it's a lot of other people's outlets, too, and I'm just glad that I'm that person that they take to.
Bogalusa is a small town. We have our problems, and most of our problems are very well known. What I would tell people mostly is don't believe everything you see on in the media because it's not always true. It's a good town.
It's not bad as everybody say it is. They call us Stank Town, and we got a lot of stuff going on, but it's because of less guidance, less positive role models to show you that you don't have to take that route. You don't have to be in the streets. It's different ways to make money. It's different ways to make an impact. It's different ways to be seen. So I just want everybody to know it's not that bad here. It's not dangerous here. There's some good people still here.
I know that when people see our area, they see, podunk, retro, throwback, but I don't want that to cloud the true image of the creativity that exists here. I mean, we have to because a lot of us start from having nothing here, so you have to be more creative than the next person in order to be able to make it.
We've had to adapt to being able to do more with less.
It's easier to talk about the negative than to celebrate the positive, because if you walk around this campus or come sit in my classroom, 95% of the kids that come in and leave out, you're going to think, hey, that's some good kids there. And that's what I hear from, and we've had a big rollover of teachers, you know, every other year. And, you know, some of them leave, some of them retired, and the new teachers come in, and usually the first comment about after 2 weeks is, man, these kids are really good. And they're shocked that Bogalusa is not what it was made out to be. And so it's, you know, people tear it down sometimes, and I think the most people that tear it down are the people that aren't here experiencing going to a game or going to the Little League game or just being out in town and meeting kids. And a lot of them, the majority of them, don't do any of that stuff. They're not a part of all that. And there's some that are. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There's some that are some rough fellas and ladies. But they're still kids. They're not adults. They're still a 16-year-old who's trying to figure his way out. And if we judged everybody or a city on what their 16-year-olds did, I don't think anybody would be real successful. So, you know, we have to kind of understand that and recognize that people make mistakes and have some bad choices. But I think that the majority of people that are here in the city might say certain things, but when they meet somebody and meet a kid, majority of the time they're impressed.
There's so much history here, tremendous history. The first commercial airline outside of New Orleans in the state of Louisiana was in Bogalusa. It only lasted 1 year, but it was here. That's how important this community was to the state. Most of the judges sitting on the bench in the St. Tammany, Washington Parish are from Bogalusa. Tons of attorneys, accountants, doctors. It's tremendous. People leave here and have tremendous success. They worked hard in this community. They played hard in this community. And they loved hard in this community. And they were caring and concerning about the next generation. And somewhere along the way, we lost a little bit of that, and we lost some generations that had to leave here. And until we fix education, it won't come back. But what I want people to know about Bogalusa, get to know the people. Take some time to learn about the people.
Overall, in general, for Bogalusa, for me to even be sitting in this seat, I feel very privileged because only men held this seat prior to myself. And not only that, I am biracial. That I feel has to say a lot for Bogalusans. Bogalusa's got a stigma on it, or had a stigma, for being like the Ku Klux Klan capital, unfortunately, of the world, or some mess like that. But Bogalusa passed that stigma up when they elected myself, you know, at large. And I was embraced by the community, both black and white, and even in the Hispanic community. So I feel like I've tried to bring people together and make Bogalusa better for us all.
I believe that what we need to bring life back to the city of Bogalusa, to the parish, or to any area is leadership with vision. I think that instead of just looking back and reflecting on what used to be, we should look forward to what we want to see it look like in the future. We're so blessed with natural resources. We are so blessed with the lushness of it all. And sometimes I think that we're walking with our heads in the desert, in the sand, instead of really looking around at what we really are blessed with, like our ancestors saw when they first came here. We have so many things that can help progress, but I don't always think we realize that with our North Shore Technical College and with all different opportunities that have been laid here for people to get better education, travel modes and different things that have been established. We just need to connect the dots and build upon those building blocks and be pioneering spirits. It's time. It's past time.
Predicament, when you look at it from the outside, does look grim, you know, but that there are people that are still here. There's still an underbelly, people that are still here that are really trying to make this place better. So the fight in the people that's here, I think, what makes me most proud to be from here.
Very often when I'm in surrounding communities, people may make reference to negativity of what's going on in Bogalusa. I quickly correct them to let them know that Bogalusa is still a beautiful area to be in.
It was very critical during the civil rights time. And what people need to realize is you should not harp on what happened. You should realize what we learned from it. Did we learn anything from it? And if we stay in the negative to it, it's going to be negative. If we go to the positive, we get to see the relationships like we've developed with people. And once you develop those relationships, they're there forever. So if you don't get a chance to see that, it's because you're not looking. It's because you're not slowing down long enough to say hello. Ask somebody who they are and where they've been. And together you can get where you're going. But you got to do it together.
There's not really a lot of solid homes anymore, especially dealing with the kids that I deal with. You can tell that a lot of their situations are broken. So their motivation level and their morale about life is already set at a really, really low place. That morale and that happiness and that enthusiasm about life comes from, you know, the house first. You know, my outlook on life came from my father and my mother. I'm not trying to put all the blame on the parents. It's just, that's the difference now than it was back then. There used to be a connection between the leadership or the coaching and the parents to know when you're not there, I'm the father, I'm the mother in a situation. So when I say something, it goes. If that's who your coach is, that's who you're going to listen to. But that has completely been eradicated. Everybody now is me and my child against the school and its teachers, or me and my child against the school and its coaches. So what that does is put coaches in a bad spot because you have to muzzle yourself when it comes to motivating children.
I think that we've made some progress. I know that we have. When we reflect back on the 50s and 60s and the hard times, I think that we've definitely made a lot of progress in race relations, but there's still people that hang on to hate, regardless of how much progress we make.
In terms of race relation, it has to get better. If you want people to live here, then they need to know that they're supported. They need to know that they're being treated equally. They need to know that they have their accessibility to resources. They need to know that the city cares about them and they don't disown them because of the color of their skin.
It has to begin with a police force that looks like the community. And I have mentioned that to leaders in the community and been told, well, they won't apply. Well, are you making the effort?
It's more about economics than it is about race. There's the haves and the have-nots. And I think that even though people all know each other, it's been a number of people that have been in control of the dollars and cents and the economic base of this community, and that pretty much hasn't changed that much. Now there's a lot more opportunities for blacks and minorities.
Economic opportunity here in Bogalusa is somewhat lacking. I mean, you have the mill, and you have Walmart, and you have the call center. And the joke, and even in the parish, the joke is you're not going to work at the prison or the hospital or a school. It's hard luck to find a job. And I kind of get that, and I see it is that a lot of the kids that I've taught over last over a decade, a lot of them don't come back here. Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, any of them. A lot of them that get their 4-year degrees, I don't see. They leave because their jobs are putting them in Texas, their jobs are putting them in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Mandeville. If you're lucky, you get to see them that they're in Covington or Auburn, Alabama. They stretch out everywhere. And that's one of the things that's so hard is that a lot of the people that are successful leave. And you want them to come back and celebrate your school. And that's kind of one of the things that I tell some kids, I don't want you to leave Bogalusa, but I want you to give me 4 years out of Bogalusa. I want you to go to college. And that doesn't mean, that could be staying at Pearl River for 2 years and then going to UNO or Southern or Southeastern or LSU for the last 2, but it exposes you, or going to the military and doing 4 to 6 years. Then you come back and you have an idea of what life is. And you've seen different than, just growing up here and going straight to work. That kind of helps mold them and shape them a little bit better. But to get people to come back, you know, first you got to win, you got to be successful, and you have to have pride in it, and they do. But it's hard to get people that leave to come back. That's why the census and, you know, the numbers have been going down in Bogalusa for a long time.
You could say I left for 5 years to go to college. So I went to Grambling State University, the place where everybody is somebody. And I came back in 2006 and ran for public office, and I won, and I started my career from there. I feel in my heart that if everybody go get educated and move to Texas or Nebraska, California, all we'll be doing is helping them states prosper while complaining about our city and our state when we're taking our talents and our education and our experiences to make everybody else better. I believe if some people are willing to stay, we can make an impact.
We can maintain the kids that were once in Bogalusa back home to put back in. I think things will be great again.
Millennials, we love home. But the thing is that we know we can't stay home. Like we can't stay home because there's no resources, there's nothing for us to do. 9 times out of 10, we come home is typically for 3-4 days max, maybe a week, just all depends on circumstances. But then we're gone again because there's no life for us. So if you want to breathe new life back into the community, then you have to talk to the young people. You have to get their input, you have to get their perspectives, you even have to bring some of them on board. For the longest, Bogalusa has been known as a retirement town. Simple, retirement. And we know retirement means that you're fading out. Like you have no desire to elevate because you spent all of your years working, and now you're just ready to rest and relax for the remainder of your time. That's not something that a young person wants.
Bring life, you could say you need industry and you need a highway and you need all of these things. Yeah, you do, and you need jobs. But the people have to come together too as one, really and truthfully. In order for us to be successful, we have to work to one. You can't say that the mayor's going to do everything. It's going to take us all to do this. To get Bogalusa back to where it was in its heyday, we want to be better than what it was in its heyday, and we can do that by being unified.
Most people learn and leave, or get money and leave this behind and leave everything behind. But they should come back and give back like the people who was there for them when they was growing up to, teach the younger generation so it don't have to go in the path that's just going in.
The younger community is really up to us to bring it back to what it used to be. I feel like everybody graduated and moved on. These kids need to be supported, and if we don't support them, then they gonna feel like they out there playing for nothing. The girls gonna feel like they out there dancing for nothing, So we just gotta start supporting our children.
Why are we not offering them the opportunity for arts and music and theater and dance and robotics and shop and carpentry? By the time we give them the opportunity, it's kind of too late. They're already on a path getting away from it. So we don't offer it in elementary now, and junior high is really the area we're losing kids horribly in the junior high system. It's terrible. And I'm hoping that, maybe we can turn that around and be focused on education, because without education, to me, you're lost.
The students at Columbia Street were like my children, and I still, with them as adults, call them my children. It was a family atmosphere. Their goals were very, very high because they knew we had expectations of them, as well as the parents and the community. Other students from other schools looked up to them as role models, and that was a joy.
Man, Columbia Street was great. It was really great, man. The teachers was so nice, so caring. They just really had a heart for the children. I think being at Columbia Street kind of gave you a sense of pride. Like you were like, okay, yeah, I'm at Columbia Street now, so this is like the cream of the crop for school. And that was that step right before you went to middle school.
When you walked into those doors, it really didn't feel like Bogalusa anymore. It really felt like you entered into another area because of the motivation that you received from the staff?
We had a regular class that was selected by lottery. All parents had to do was say, I want my child to go there. And their name went into a lottery, and we drew. That's how we got them. Magnet students were selected based on achievement test scores and standardized testing. And so we had one class at each grade level, 3 through 6, that was magnet, and that's all.
How do you think Karen McGee changed?
Karen McGee? How did she change it?
Change it, help it?
Karen McGee was a bright light. She never sat down, never sat still, always making buttons, posters. Now that is as an employee. A mother hen kind of constantly caring for everybody, the employees, the kids. But then as a parent, oh, I wanted to be like her as a parent. Kevin didn't just do a book report. It could have been on Broadway. He would have props. He did one about a newspaper. I don't even know what it was. He threw newspapers like a newsboy. It was just, so she just was a bright light. She just was amazing.
She was always working with the children to, if they needed something, she got it for them.
She was wonderful. I loved teaching her. I remember her because she was such a good student. And you remember the good students. You really, really do. I remember her name, and I remember her when I see her in the community. One thing we always did, every week we chose a student of the week, and we'd go in the auditorium and we'd have a big deal and we'd announce who's going to be the student of the week. I have a young man that still lives in this town that comes to me every time I see him, and he says to me, Miss Breland, I never got to be student of the week. And I said, I don't know what to do now, but I'm sorry you didn't.
In all honesty, it wasn't a true magnet school, because if it had been, we would have had every child here that qualified to come here. We wouldn't have had a ratio of this or this. It would have been open to anyone. But on the other hand, we had a magnet class and we had a regular class. And I saw the children from the regular class come, and they learned from the accelerated children, just the atmosphere of being with them and being in this school and being a part of it. And I don't know if that's wrong for me to say that or not, but that was my opinion. And it really did hurt me whenever it was closed, because I did not think that the way that it was done, I don't think that it should have been. It should have continued so that other children could have the same opportunity. We moved from this school to a school that only had one bathroom downstairs. It didn't have a bathroom upstairs, and I could never understand. I just couldn't understand it, why.
There was some issues about this school, and that we were just really getting into those standardized testing, and where the 4th grade had to, if the 4th grade students didn't pass that standardized test, they didn't pass that grade. That was a big thing coming out about that time. And that feeling was that we had all the good students here, and they were not dispersed enough through the school system.
I have always felt about Columbia Street that we just really built relationships with our students. We didn't only know their parents, we knew the extended family, and still do to this day. So I think one of the wonderful things about this school is we formed those relationships, and we still have them today. If you know, we had a child I remember who was so close to her grandfather, and he would pick her up every day in the car rider line. Well, he passed away. We all went to the funeral home. It was that kind of a place. We knew their story. We knew if a child's parents were going through a tough divorce and they were having a bad day, we knew why, and we met them where they were. And You know, that is what made it so special, I think. We built those relationships, and they've stood the test of time even now. You know, it's so wonderful to see all my students on Facebook, and I know y'all do too, and to see where they are, and you know, it is just amazing. Kids have reached out to me over the years, or when I see people, and that is what they always say. We just used to have so much fun, Miss Amy. It was learning at its best because the kids had fun.
When I look at this cafeteria now, it really breaks my heart. First of all, because my mom was a cook at this school, and I can just remember those days. Most of the time that I was teacher here, I served as the cafeteria monitor during lunchtime. And that made the children that I didn't have in my class, my children before they reached 5th and 6th grade. So even 3rd and 4th graders were also my children. This was like our family dining room. And it really hurts my heart to see it look like this now.
We've touched many a child that's come through their lives. And I see them, and you know, they'll say, "Do you remember me, Miss Kathy?" And some of them I do, some of them I say, "Well, just refresh my memory some." I wouldn't give anything in the world for my job that I had in the Bogalusa school system. And I've always felt like if I could just touch one life, make a difference in one life, and I hope that I did.
The strongest memories I have of school before middle and high school was at Clement Street Magnet School, and I still remember every single one of my teachers, Ms. Leggett, Ms. Adams, Ms. Dodds, Ms. Watterson. I still remember the order and the classes that I had went to them in. I still remember the desk that I sat in. I still remember everything about it. I still remember. It molded me into a different student. I was pushed there, you know, more than I was anywhere else.
Everybody is put on earth for a mission, a reason. God puts us all here, and I know mine. I know that I fulfilled it. That's how it makes me feel. And it wasn't always easy, and I'm sure I had days where kids didn't like me very much, but I think, again, it was just that I just have built relationships with them that have truly stood the test of time. And I think that they knew that I loved them first, and I wanted to teach them what they needed to know in that grade, but I loved them first, and I still do, and I guess they feel that.
We spend so much money in administrative costs and extra busing and extra this and extra that and extra layers with 2 systems in a parish of 43,000 people that the schools do not get the tools they need.
If you want people to stay in Bogalusa, then you have to provide resources and things so that they can stay. And the only way to do that is to listen to them, ask them what do they want. I think that the community needs to be involved in town hall meetings.
I need you to get involved in our community as not just in politics, but as in volunteerism, the importance of it. You know, that's really what makes the world go round. And what I learned from Bogalusa High School, if nothing else, was how to volunteer. We had to volunteer in our social groups that we were in, and I don't see as many children and youth volunteering like they used to, you know? And that's where, if you don't volunteer, you can't get much accomplished. You're gonna be relying on the same people every time. But fortunately, right now in Bogalusa, we've sparked a new hope of volunteerism. I mean, we've got a lot of people that are working hard to make our city better, but we need young people.
Not everyone has given up on them. You know, I think that's an overall consensus of a lot of the younger generation, is that there's a rift between them and everybody else. It's a us against the world mentality because of the way we dress, because of the things we do, because of the way we live our lives. It's us against the world. But I think my main message to them is simple. We don't understand a lot of things, you know, just like the generation before me didn't understand us. We may not understand a lot of things, but that doesn't mean we don't support you.
Have a can-do attitude, know that everything is possible, and know that, you know, my dad used to tell me years ago that you could be president of the United States. But, you know, I never really believed it until I saw Barack Obama become president. And I would tell that story. Now we know that we can become president we can be anything that we want to be. We got to just work hard, put forth the effort, and be humble about it. And I'm just thankful that I had an opportunity to have an effect in these young people's lives, because they certainly had an effect in mine.
We focus on 10 years from now, not today. Don't focus on what's going on today. Focus on where you want to be later in life. A lot of our kids, and I'm sure it's the same thing as any adolescent, is that, they think about today and tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow is the biggest thing, but it's not what's going to happen in 10 years. It's not where, what college am I going to? They're looking towards graduation. I want you to be looking at college. And then before you get to college, I want you to look at what job you have, where you're going to live. All those things. I want them to focus on what's coming up in their life. And the earlier they make those decisions, the more successful they'll be. And I preach that to mine here nonstop, is that stop thinking about, the first game. I want you to think about the season. Because if you get wrapped up in just one thing, when it's over, you don't know what to do after that. So we got to have a plan and figure out where we want to be and how much work we need to put in to get there.
As I used to tell them when they was in school, I want you to be a great man in a community, wherever you may be, because when I become an old man, you're gonna be the people that take care of me, and I don't want to walk nowhere and see you and have to walk out because I know you wasn't the right person. So I try to raise them to be the right people in the community.
You don't have to start out with a silver spoon in your mouth to find those ways of independence, of having a good life. And that's things that I want to stress here in this community, because I feel that there's, because of the opiate epidemic and other issues like that, it is really, people are somewhat lost in trying to find their way. And it really hurts the generations behind that during this time. And we've got to be there for these children. We've got to help guide them if they don't have guidance, that we have to help them see beyond their zip code. For us, 70427, I say it all the time. 70438 in the parish area, 70426. We've got to get them to see beyond that. And expose them to all the opportunities that are out there for them, to help them become more open-minded and understanding that they individually can make choices to be anything they want to be.
But until we men, the real men of Bogalusa, get together and organize some kind of organization that we can bring these young kids in some kind of situation and work with them from 5 and 6 and give them direction, and give them some ideas about changes in life. What you don't see in Bogalusa is happening in other places, but there's a big world out here, and some of these kids have never even been out of Bogalusa.
Can't expect our young black men to do anything if you're not involved in our young black men's lives. So I need my elders to do their job and step up and be the man that they were supposed to be, and teach these young men how to act and how to go about life and to get involved.
I believe if we can get organizations and get these kids something to do, just keep them involved in something during the summer and wintertime, year-round, then we won't have a lot of violence that's going on today.
Bogalusa is a place to be proud of. To anybody that's outside of Bogalusa, knowing that they're from Bogalusa but don't make mention of Bogalusa, they should feel ashamed, because it's a place where you can be proud of. You can tell people you're from Bogalusa, Louisiana, and I made it to this level.
Think about others more, not just yourself. Because what you do, whether you know it or not, somebody is always watching. And you might be a role model to somebody and don't know it. Somebody might be looking up to you and you don't know it. So I always keep that in mind, to where you might potentially be creating another you in this world right now. So you do everything you can to make another you. You don't gotta live that life. It's opportunities out here for you. Don't just follow the trends and, oh, somebody else got the same job and so I got to get this job, and then you know, it's not that many opportunities. Well, it's opportunities, but it's not that many in the same field. So just open your mind, bro. Think outside the box, and you know, follow your heart, man. Something you love to do. My thing is just find a way to create wealth for yourself. You don't have to do it in the streets. You can invest. It's ways, invest in yourself, invest in your brain, most importantly. Gain knowledge and take advantage of every opportunity that presents itself. Even though you gotta work your way from the bottom to the top, just take advantage of those situations and take pride into those situations. Even being at the bottom, is beauty in the bottom. It's even more beautiful when you make it to the top.
Hold it together. Hey, Jackson on 3, family on 6, brotherhood on 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's get it. We play one heck of a game, boys.
Penny dreams and fairy tales, Cinderella stories. She's had a very troubled life, full of awful times and worries. Her parents said a charming prince she would find one day. And if you look very close on the vine, she wilts away. And the rose of Bogalusa dying on the vine. And though she lays there in her bed at night and drowns herself in wine, and though the tears that swell in her eyes just like a river runs, oh, she prays that her tomorrow shines brighter than the sun. Shattered dreams of broken hearts, a struggle to exist. A mother's tears, a father's heart, never wanted this. And all the hills and valleys have left her with these scars. If only love can find her and mend her broken heart. And the rose of Bogalusa is dying on the vine. And though she lays there in her bed at night and drowns herself in wine, and though the tears that swell in her eyes just like a river runs, and though she prays that her tomorrow shines brighter than the sun. Tell me, can you hear her? Can you see her standing there? Lost and lonely, standing in the shadows, all alone and feeling scared. As she hides behind the lipstick, the makeup and the lies, does anybody hear her? Does anybody see her? Does anybody even care? And the rose of Bogalusa is dying on the vine. And though she lays there in her bed at night and drowns herself in wine, oh, the tears that swell in her eyes like a river runs. Oh, she prays that her tomorrow shines brighter than the sun. I've lived in one-horse towns, the city's far and wide. I stopped to smell the rose before and got drunk upon its wine. I never stayed for very long, but long enough to say, oh, for every rose two that wilt away. There are two that wilt away.